We're going to talk about managing delivery drivers today. This goes hand in hand with what we did last week, which was the ordering through the Mesa Plus. Today, we're going to talk about managing the delivery drivers. And I did this in a different way today. I asked Rodney to prepare a video on how to set up and utilize the delivery features for the drivers. And then we have his video, and then I prepared something on my side, and it turned out that we both focused on things that are different. So it's going to take both of the presentations together for you to understand truly the scope of how to manage the delivery drivers. We barely crossed over on our different approaches. His approach is that much different from mine. So you're going to get two different perspectives with very little overlap when we get into it. So let's talk about delivery drivers. The software Aldelo Express does have some really good HR driver information to put into the employee file. You do get the driver's license ID, when it expires, the insurance carrier for the driver, the insurance ID, insurance when it expires, and any insurance notes. So all this is in the employee file for you to then, as a installer, help train them on how to keep up with the really important information about that driver. Their license and insurance. They have to have that in order to be a good delivery driver or not put the restaurant at risk. So this is one way the restaurant can track that information for that driver. How are the drivers paid? Well, they can get an hourly salary, hourly wage, plus a choice of different things. They obviously can get tips, and those tips are handled just like you handle a server tips. Those tips can be handed out at end of the night, declared at closeout, and can be added to a paycheck. So they are just like a server with regard to how to handle tips. No difference whatsoever. Then the driver can also get compensated on a percentage of the order. They can also get a compensation on a per item basis. So there's different ways to compensate that driver in addition to hourly, tips, and then percentage or per item base. If they go per item, then the higher delivery price can shift that burden of paying that fee to the customer. Because remember last week we talked about how you can have different price levels for different orders. Well, a price level for a delivery can include whatever compensation there is per item for that delivery driver. Then there's driver dispatch. You can have it where the driver dispatches themselves, or you can have it where a designated employee is managing all the drivers. Now, this is going to be based, it depends upon the volume of that restaurant. The beauty of it is, it can be either way. And it can be, there's no switch, there's no flag to set. It can just either be driver dispatch themselves in slow periods when they have a dispatcher come in to manage all the deliveries. That person can then take over the dispatching, and then back to a slower period, maybe at the end of the night, can go back to a driver dispatch. So it fluctuates on the needs of the restaurant, whether they want to allow full driver management to a dispatcher or to the individual drivers. It's up to the restaurant. Dispatching is very simple. They're easily shown on the display of which orders are ready to be dispatched. To then dispatch, you touch the body of the order. If you touch the address, it will display a map. If you touch the question mark, it displays the details of the order. If you touch anywhere in the white area, it's going to then select that order with a green check mark. Then you can just simply assign that order and then dispatch it. The quick way is to set assign and dispatch. If you touch the assign button, you can then email the driver the information about the order. That could be the details of the order. and we'll also have the addresses that then allows that driver then to look at the order information that they get on their phone and use the mapping software they have on their phone to then route themselves to that delivery address. It makes it a very simple thing for that driver to do using their own cell phone. Once the delivery is made to that first location, they then open up the next email, get the mapping to that next delivery. And so they go from the store to the first delivery, then they look and get the mapping information from that location to go to the next location, and then so forth and so on until they get to the last order. And if they need directions back to the restaurant, they can then just do that from the last delivery. But the key is they get the order information and the mapping to the next delivery. So the driver, once they're assigned and leaves to make that delivery, then when they come back, they do a money drop, and that money drop then goes into a cash drawer or safe or some kind of container. I've seen restaurants use boxes, cubes with a slit, and they just slide the money and the receipts into that drawer, into that slot. They don't want the driver running around with a bunch of money. A lot of theft, a lot of potential theft there. So they do money drops when they come back in. And the little button there, it says drop all his cash. That's the simplest way to do that. So now let's take a little quick break. And now you've gotten my perspective. Let's take a look at Rodney's perspective to see how he did it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start on the cloud. We're going to go over some configurations, focus on the delivery features. So we're going to go ahead and start with the delivery fees. There are 3 areas where you can define the delivery fees. That is the delivery charge and driver comp. You can set them on the customer level, which takes the highest precedence. So we'll go ahead and go into the marketing customers, and you'll see the delivery charge and driver compensation there. You can also update a mass amount of customers under the delivery charge update. Next is the postal codes. We'll go ahead and pull up Pleasanton here, and you will see the delivery charge and driver comp defined here. And the last area will be under the general config, basic defaults. You'll see the fees there. The way it works, as I said, there is a hierarchy. If a customer has delivery fees defined under their customer profile, that takes precedence over the other 2 areas. If the customer does not have delivery fees defined, and there are fees defined under the postal code, it will use those values. And if none of the criteria are met for the customer or postal code, it will use the fees defined under the basic defaults. Now, if there are no values defined under the basic defaults, the delivery charge or driver compensation will not be applied to the order. So next we're going to go into the order type config under the delivery tab and go into the delivery options. Those values that we have set for the delivery charge and driver compensation, we can set the delivery fees to be percentage based, and the delivery fees will be calculated as a percentage rather than an amount. Then below that, we will see the enable per item delivery charge and driver compensation. If these are turned on, the delivery fees under the customer profile will be disregarded, and the postal codes and basic defaults will be disabled. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and go into the product just to show you now that when this is enabled, we can define the per quantity delivery fees here. We're going to go back to the delivery options. I'm going to go ahead and disable the per item, and then below that, you can see here that we can waive the delivery charge if the order total exceeds a certain amount here. Then below that, we can enable the driver money drop. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. What this allows is for the delivery driver to quickly release delivery payments to the store without having to individually settle. Also at this time, when the driver completes their deliveries, they can submit their payments to the store. So you see that when we enable the driver money drop, a new feature pops up here. This is the driver money drop moves prior tenders to driver server bank. What this does is it moves completed orders. Even if accepted by the cashier, it will move them into their bank, and the driver can manage those orders, apply gratuities on credit card payments, manage them from their server bank. So we'll turn that on as well. Then the last setting here is the driver dispatch excludes employees not clocked in. When this is turned on, the driver will not be listed as an available driver until they have started their time card. So we'll turn that on and save. Next, another setting is under the settings delivery limitations. Here you can define the coverage area for deliveries and what unit of measure. So you can see it's set to 15 miles. You can also set it to kilometers as well. And we're actually going to go into an employee file here. So the employee that I'm going to be working with is Mini Driver, and we'll go into that employee file and show extended settings. From here, you want to make sure that they are defined as a driver. And then if this employee is strictly a driver who will have minimal access to the point of sale, we could turn on the driver dispatch to the initial POS screen upon login. So once they log into the application, it will take the driver directly into the driver dispatch screen. So we'll turn that on. And then we'll scroll down to the POS accessibilities here. This is where you can turn on their server banking. And one note as well, delivery service should be turned on as well so that they'll have access to their server bank. And we'll go ahead and click Save here. Next, we will move over to the Aldelo Express application on my iPad. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as the cashier that has taken some delivery orders. And you'll see that there are a couple orders here. So I'm going to go and change the status to all status and set the date filter to today's orders. Here you'll see order number 001-136. This is a delivery order that has been paid for, but is yet to be delivered. So I will be able to send that out. Now I'll go ahead and log out and log in as the driver. Now I'm logged in as Mini Driver. As soon as I logged in, it takes me directly into the driver dispatch screen. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and select the orders by tapping on the order, which will place a green check mark on them. And now I'll tap on Assign. Now I have not clocked in or started my time card, so I'll go back and I'll start my time card. And I'll go back. Now that I have started my time card, you will see the available driver now. So I'll go ahead and select the driver. And these orders are now moved to the dispatch screen. I'll tap on the driver. You'll see the orders there that are pending. You can tap on the address and it'll pull up a map and show where the destination is. And I can depart all, which will move it away from the assigned and set it to en route. And once they are en route, I can tap on route map here. You'll see the delivery destinations on the map. We'll go back into the dispatch. Once the driver has returned after delivering the orders, they can arrive all. And now the orders are completed. I can go into the money drop, tap on the driver. Here I can start a server bank, or as it says here, driver bank, which is in itself a server bank. Now you'll see order 001-136 is marked as fully paid. But as soon as I drop all as cash, the cash from the cash order will be collected and all the transactions will be moved to my server bank. So this is the amount that will be collected by the store. So I'm going to go into my server bank and you'll see that I can manage that transactions, although it was taken by a different user. And I can adjust the gratuity here. I'll tap on the green tip box there, and then I can add in the gratuity amount. So we'll put $5.45, and you'll see it's adjusted there. Now this cash tip will be deducted from the money that I returned back to the store from my initial start amount. Now, if I needed to add cash gratuities that were taken in by the orders paid by cash, I can enter it in my time card and report the tips here. So we'll go back into the miscellaneous here and go to server bank and sign out here. Now the server bank is closed. We'll go ahead and clock out here. And then we'll exit out and we'll log in as a cashier user. I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the bank here. Since the bank is closed, I do have to set it for today's date. I'm going to go and select the server bank on the right-hand side here. And you're going to see the transactions that were moved to the server bank, how much has been paid, the driver compensations, and the cash due back to the store is $40.95. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move over to the cloud, the various reports there. So we're going to go ahead and go into the analytics. We're going to go and click on performance. We're going to scroll down so we find the driver assigned sales, driver performance. So the driver assigned sales will show the pertinent orders and the delivery charges and driver compensations that were received. And then the driver performance, this will reflect the delivery activity. So when the order was sent out and then arrived, and show the elapsed time. And next we'll go into the financials and cashiers. We'll click on the bank number and you'll see the same server bank report that we saw on the application and how the activity reflects there. That's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and hand it back to you, Jerry.
What you're going to find is that when Rodney did his and mine, we were really didn't organize this such that we were trying to cover the same topic. He did his version, I did mine, and it looks like we both covered the same topic, just in a different way. So why does it matter? Why does the delivery driver and the management of the delivery driver, why does it matter to a restaurant? What you're going to find is that our caller ID feature is included and it does integrate with the who's calling caller ID box. So it matters that the software is already there to do that if the restaurant wants to do in-house phone orders. So we talked about last week about Mesa Plus. We talked about the online ordering and how that works. Well, the caller ID also is integrated, and it does bring up the previous order for them to order from the telephone. Then you also have what we talked about last week, the online ordering and the Mesa Plus. Your competition does not do these things without add-on modules. The add-on modules for your competitors, they do cost. They do have a cost, so it's going to raise the cost of their ownership of the system, whereas it reduces the cost if they go with the Aldelo Express. Ease of use is here. It's very simple to use. It's designed for touchscreens. It's designed to be used with a finger and not a mouse and keyboard. So it's very easily used without a PC involved. And then finally, it does give you an absolute competitive advantage, and that it's going to cost your competitors, it's hundreds of dollars per month to get to the same level as what we have here with Mesa, online ordering, caller ID, and telephone orders. It's in the driver management. All these things together give you an exceptionally powerful tool that if you can learn how to talk to the restaurant about it, talk to them about how to use it, and be comfortable with it, you will certainly have a competitive advantage against all competitors. All right. Any questions? Anything has come up?